How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame, and we are back with another FPL video. And today we're going to be taking a look at my transfers and chip strategies leading up until the next game week. That is going to be a double game week. So if you aren't familiar with that in FPL, that's basically where teams play twice in the same game week. So you may have noticed some of your players have played twice. City still have to play another game. Aston Villa haven't even played one of their games yet, and they have 2 games in this game week. So, and I'm doing quite well in the game week so far with 74 points. Still got my City boys left to go. Still got Salah, still got Robertson, still got Bruno Fernandes. So double game weeks is where you can basically make or break your season. I've gone a decent bit up the ranks. Would like to get into that top million, and would like to charge forward towards the top 100k and then the top 10k by the end of the season. That's still definitely in my thinking, which is why you have to sometimes plan ahead. Yes, you know, there's all these things where a team can have a virus outbreak within the camp and all that sort of stuff, but you still need to have a plan and still need to maintain flexibility for it. So this is what I'm planning for my chip strategy, as well as the transfers. I'm looking all the way up until game week 26, because there are things that we can definitively know for a fact that we will want. So such as players that we would potentially want going into double game weeks, because we know that they have fixtures yet to play. So we'll take a look at all those different things and what I have planned all the way up until game week and including game week 26. If you haven't done so already, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. It greatly helps us out. It'll help you out. It helps the channel grow, which helps allow me to make more videos just like this one, as well as turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. And drop us a follow over on Twitter and Twitch. We will be doing a live stream on Twitch this coming Thursday, so at the time of recording, that's 2 days from now at 7 p.m. EST. That's going to be the preview for game week 20, and we'll be doing a deadline stream the day before the deadline for game week 20, so Monday evening at 7 p.m. EST. So make sure to check that out as well. And Twitter, where we'll post our lineup and all sorts of other updates for the channel, as well as any content that goes out. So without further ado, let's see what transfers and chip strategy I have going forward up until the next potential double game week. So this is going to be a bit more of a free-form style of video where you can kind of see my team and kind of see my thinking onto how I'm going to be going about it. So if I do the ahs, and I'm thinking a little bit, that's because it's going to be a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more free-form, a little bit more kind of adventurous with what we can potentially do. So I currently, as it stands now, have all of my chips left available. I have my second wild card, I have my free hit, I have my triple captain, and I have my bench boost. I decided not to play it. Had I did play it in game week 19, double game week 19, I would have gotten 12 points. I would have got Johnston's 2, I would have got Rafinha's 2, I would have got Bamford's 2, and I would have got Rob Holding's 6. So I would have ended up with 12 points total, which would have probably been quite disappointing, actually, because 12 points just isn't really that what we're looking for. We're looking for at least 15. I've seen some bench boosts that have been quite successful and some bench boosts that have been quite terrible, to be frank. So we want to basically avoid that. And I think the more information that you have going further on in the season, like I know obviously people can still get, outbreaks within the camp for the same teams, for that matter. It's very unlikely. They're probably going to take more precautions, at least more and more precautions over the season. And those that have had it, they will be, more immune to it or less likely to be affected by it. So Man City, Newcastle, Aston Villa, and there's one other team that I'm spacing out on at the moment, Fulham. They're all going to have games further down the line for doubles because of the fact that they've had to postpone some games. So if we just quickly take a look at Man City. So if you want to see if somebody has fixtures still left to play, you just click on the player that plays for that team. So I picked on Cancelo, who plays for Man City. And you can see in the fixtures tab that they still have Everton and Southampton still to be scheduled. Now, if you want to follow how these fixtures are potentially going to pan out, I suggest you follow a guy called Ben Krellin on Twitter. He's a fixture guru. I'll make sure to leave a link in the description below as well. He's going to be giving a lot of information for that. We can see here also that City have a scheduled blank for that week, and I believe that's because they play in the Carabao Cup final. So Spurs will also have that blank in 33 as well. So something also to keep an eye on. But we know that City still have 2 fixtures left to still schedule, which means they'll have at least 2 more double game weeks, at least. And they'll probably have one extra somewhere in there as well, because of the fact that they're probably going to beat, I think it's Birmingham that they play. who's in, I believe, 2 tiers below the Premier League in the English, like, standing of leagues. So they're most likely going to get through. Aston Villa is another one. I have Emi Martinez. So if we go to fixtures, they still have Spurs and they still have Everton left to schedule as well. Southampton is another one, so I'll go with Leeds because that's who they have to play, and they also have this scheduled game that needs to go through as well. So there's potentially, they could be before Gameweek 26, could be after Gameweek 26. All I know is that they will have to play that fixture at some point, which means that it's likely that you should keep those players. So Martinez, the reason I brought him in, it was unfortunate that he didn't play in game week 18, but that was because of the fact that they couldn't field basically enough first team players. They had the outbreak within the camp, so they decided to basically postpone, or ask the Premier League to postpone that game. But now that Martinez is in there, I know that I have a long-standing goalkeeper who is going to basically get me a lot of points because he's been doing that pretty much all season. Aston Villa's defense has been quite good, and we'll see kind of how they go about it versus City and Newcastle, expecting a clean sheet hopefully against Newcastle. And Aston Villa should be back to full strength because they've had a significant amount of time off, and maybe Ross Barkley's back as well. There was pictures of him in training, pictures of Watkins in training, a bunch of different players. So we look at the players that I currently have in the team that I'm going to definitely want long term. So we know that City are going to have double game weeks to play. We know that Leeds are going to have double game weeks to play. We know that Aston Villa are players that are going to have double game weeks to play. So we have quite a few of those already in the team. Martinez in goal, Cancelo, Diaz, De Bruyne, Rafinha, Bamford. Those are players we're going to want to keep long term. Players that will potentially have a double game week down the line, but not necessarily good fixtures in those double game weeks according to how the fixtures are going to line up, is West Ham. I think in scheduled, potentially, depending on how the double game weeks go, West Ham, if they were to have a double, would be up against like Chelsea and Man United, which isn't great. So you probably wouldn't want like double defense like people have been going this week with like Cresswell and Fabianski. So my overarching plan is hang on to the players that I know will have double game weeks down the line, even if they're smaller double game weeks. There's a potential plan to put Leeds and Southampton in game week 23, depending on how the fixtures roll out in the FA Cup. So we'll have to see on that. So could come even sooner. So I want to make sure that I still have them in my team. For chip strategy, what I'm trying to do is set up my team in such a way to where I can bring the assets back in slowly over time. Spurs is another one that has a lot of double game weeks still left to be scheduled as well. I think it's at least 2 if I go to check that. Yeah, Aston Villa and Fulham. So it should be 2 pretty good fixtures there. We're looking at how to basically best utilize the chips that we have. So we have all of them available. So there's most likely going to be a massive blank in game week 29. That's looking like the free hit. Bench boost is looking like in 26 because that's going to be the other really big double game week. The wild card could potentially be used before it, depending on how our team's looking in 25. And then the triple captain can be used in a double game week towards the end of the season, whether it be in like 34 or something like that. So we will adjust in that sort of manner. But we have the wild card into bench boost 1 week before combo. Whereas this time we kind of used it in 16 and kind of hoped our players would trickle on into that game week. But enough rambling on. Let's get into what transfers I'm looking at. So, with that in mind, what I want to do is players that aren't necessarily going to be good longer term. One of them is going to be Robertson, because he has Spurs away, West Ham, who's been playing quite well, away. Brighton at home should be okay, but then Man City, Leicester, Everton, all teams that can score versus Liverpool's defense hasn't been great. So he's probably going to make way this week. And the reason I'm going to pick Mitchell, this is what I have on paper, is because it frees up enough money further down the line depending on price change and that sort of stuff, which is going to be quite close. So this is just kind of rough as to what we're going to be looking for, and then we're going to go further. Now, if I see that Grealish doesn't get a 5th yellow, so Jack Grealish has played, or Aston Villa have played, I believe it's 15 games total. We can just double check that here. So he has 2 through 10, which is 9. Plus 12 through 17, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 9 plus 6 is 15. And then he has 2 double game weeks, which is 17. If you get 5 yellow cards before 19 games played by your club, you get suspended for a game. So if Jack Grealish, which most of his cards have been for mouthing off, doesn't in those 2 game weeks, then I'll be looking to potentially bring him in for a hit, and that would be for Souček, because we want to keep Rafinha because we know he has a double game week, which could be earlier than game week 26. If not, we would bring in Grealish in for game week 21. So we would miss the Burnley fixture, but we'd have him for Southampton away, West Ham at home, Arsenal at home, Brighton away, and then we'd have him for the double game weeks that he could potentially have. If there were for some reason scheduled a double game week in game week 20 for them, then I would definitely bring him in for a hit because it just makes the most sense. And we wouldn't play Souček over Rafinha anyway, because Rafinha plays Newcastle away, whereas Souček plays Crystal Palace away. And since David Moyes has changed to this 4-2-3-1 system, Souček's been playing a little bit further back, and we have Antonio in there, who's got 2 goals in 2 games, which is done quite well. So that would be by the end of Game Week 21. That's what we're looking at. We have 1.1 million in the bank, assuming no price change and that sort of stuff. And we'd be going into Game Week 22 with a free transfer available, 1 free transfer. We could have 2 depending on if we got Grealish in 20. But let's say we just have just the 1. So what we would be looking to do is, in Game Week 22, we would get rid of Bruno Fernandes, and we would bring in Marcus Rashford, who is someone we would want for a future double game week, because United's double game week could be quite good. We would get Fernandes back in, but what this would allow us to do is, if we were to save that transfer back in game week 21, so we had taken a hit for Grealish beforehand, we can do this move for free, which is Salah out in game week 23, where he plays Manchester City at home. We would take out Chris Wood, who we pretty much going to be bench fodder for the most part. And we could bring in Kane and Son, because we know that they're going to have double game weeks. They may have a double game week in 23. We don't know as of yet. Again, it depends on scheduling, depends on all that sort of stuff, which is 0.2 million left to spare. And that would be in game week 23 when they play West Brom at home, which is obviously a good fixture for them. They obviously only won 1-0 last time, but that was away from home. So that's what we'd be looking to do. And then in game week 24, we would be looking to either use that transfer, or if we think, we've seen a bunch of, these, we may use it on something that's just kind of sideways, or something that's just kind of whatever. But in other practicalities and other different situations, we could easily save that transfer. We don't need to necessarily get rid of anyone in game week 24, because in game week 24 we're just going to play Martinez. He has Brighton away. Diaz and Cancelo, they have Spurs in 24. So obviously my defenders going against each other isn't great. Kufal has Sheffield United at home, which is pretty good. Rob Holding has Leeds, which probably isn't the greatest fixture. Mitchell has Burnley at home, so maybe we play like Mitchell, Diaz, and Kufal, and go with that and leave one of the City defenders on the bench. Diaz obviously being the more likely to play. We play Son, Kane, De Bruyne, Rashford, Grealish. We would play. We could play Bamford away to Arsenal. Antonio would obviously be good because it's versus Sheffield United. And then Rafinha, it would just be basically a toss-up between who we play. Do we play Rafinha or do we play Bamford? Probably Bamford, just because he's better away from home in that sense. And then in game week 25, if we didn't make a transfer, we would basically just look to get rid of Rob Holding and Kufal and trade them out for defenders that have a double game week that could potentially, be bench boostable in that sense. We could also change our goalkeeper in 24. We could do a bunch of different things. But also, we still have the wild card in our back pocket. Now, also, going forward, we would need the wild card if we wanted to bring back in Bruno Fernandes. We would need the wild card to bring back in the likes of Mo Salah if he has a double game week. There's many different alterations around that. I believe Liverpool, if they were to have a double game week, would be against Sheffield United and Chelsea. So that would obviously be something that we would do. But their fixtures leading up to it aren't obviously fantastic. You know, they have Man City, Leicester, Everton, at least from a defensive standpoint, not great. From an offensive standpoint, Leicester have been quite good. Man City's been the best defense in the league, and Everton have basically got a full team back. So again, could be quite tricky attacking wise. For Man United, we would still have a Man United midfielder. It would just be Rashford over Fernandes. And we'd have him from Game Week 22 onward. So at home, Sheffield, Southampton, more of a Rashford type of fixture to get him behind. Everton, Fernandes scored, but Rashford could also do quite well in that. West Brom, obviously, would be a good fixture for Fernandes as well. And then against Newcastle, Rashford also could be quite good in that as well. A lot of home fixtures, which is typically more favorable to Rashford. Although this season I think he's been a bit more on the away side. So he's got 15 points against Newcastle away. He's gotten 14 points for Sheffield United away. And it's the home form that United has to be a little bit better at overall, FPL wise at least, for Rashford. So that's kind of the transfers that I'm looking at the moment. So it's definitely the priorities is to bring in Grealish. It's to get in Son and Kane in Game Week 23. It's to maintain the Manchester clubs, at least in terms of the team. So Cancelo, Diaz, De Bruyne seem to be the most favored, as it were. A lot of people are jumping on the Stones bandwagon, and I think Cancelo will probably play 4 out of 5. And if he's going to play 4 out of 5, it's going to be Aston Villa, West Brom, Sheffield United, and Burnley, which I'm perfectly okay with. And then he may, he's probably going to play versus Liverpool. Again, they're going to have rests in the FA Cup. They're going to have rests soon to come in the Champions League as well, once it hits middle of February onwards. So I'm not too worried about Cancelo's position there, because he's been basically the best player apart from, the centre-back pairing and De Bruyne, really. And he can play, he's basically first choice left back and right back. So he definitely need a rest. I think he played 9 games on the spin in all competitions before. So he played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then there was an FA Cup game and a Carabao Cup game somewhere in that run as well. So not too worried about that. And then for the chip strategy, like we said, it would be to wildcard if we have to in Game Week 25 to set some things up for Game Week 26. And that would be basically, potentially rearranging some players, whether it's rearranging the back line, getting in Fernandes, bringing in Salah. It all depends on the fixtures themselves. So like I said, check out Ben Crellin. He's fantastic when it comes to what fixtures could be played, what couldn't be played. And he's got a table up right now on his Twitter where it shows, depending on the FA Cup results over the weekend, depends on who will receive blank. So it's like Liverpool will blank if X and Y. Chelsea will blank if X and Y. Some teams need less, some teams need more. So we'll have to see on that front. But yeah, that's going to do it for this one. Hope you all enjoyed it. Like I said, these are not finalized, so take them with a slight pinch of salt, but we're looking to bench boost in Game Week 26, triple captain in one of the double game weeks outside of it. Potentially have to use the wild card for Game Week 25 to set up for the 26, and then use the free hit chip in 29 when there's going to be a blank. And that's going to do it for my chip strategy and transfer plans leading up until the next double game week, roughly, at least for the time being. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. And drop us a follow over on Twitter and Twitch. It's PilotFlame226 on those platforms. The links are in the description. You can get all the updates of content of when the streams go live on Twitter, as well as lineup announcements, and make sure to come check us out over on Twitch. That's where we do our FPL preview and deadline streams, which we will be doing a preview stream 2 days from now. That's going to be on the 21st of January, 7 p.m. EST. That's the Thursday. That's going to be after Liverpool play Burnley. And then we'll also be doing a deadline stream on the Monday, the day before the Game Week 20 deadline, which is like midday-ish on Tuesday, my time. So make sure to check that out. Thanks for watching, and until the next one, take care.